Hey everybody, how's it going? Here today with a video of a drop test between the brand new iPhone 5C and the iPhone 5S. Both these were released just today on September the 20th, and they are Apple's next big player in the smartphone market. The iPhone 5S is just a step up from last year's model of the iPhone 5 with essentially the same build, a little bit beefed up internals as well as a new home button. And then we see the brand new iPhone 5C, which sports an all-plastic back with a steel or unibody enclosure, and they state that it's no longer a cheap iPhone, but simply one that is built a little bit more durable. We're going to put that to the test today and find out by dropping both the iPhone 5C as well as the iPhone 5S and see how each one fares. We'll be doing a drop from pocket height, chest height, and then above the head. Now, please do remember that these are everyday drops and they're meant to simulate natural and realistic drops. The way they land, we have no effect on, whether that's because of gravity, the way they hit the ground, or whatever it may be. The phone may drop on the first drop, it may break on after 10 drops. There really is truly no barrier, so please remember that there's a lot of randomness in these tests, but they do give a fairly accurate gauge of how strong each phone is. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and drop the first set of phones. Alright, so this is the first test from pocket height for the drop. I'm going to have that video recording as well as each of the iPhones will also be taking their own video, and then I'll have a slow motion camera down here recording 120 frames per second to view each drop. So again, this is from pocket height. We'll do the 5C first in each test and then the 5S. So here is the iPhone 5C from pocket height drop. And now once more, here is the 5S from pocket height drop.
So as you can see after the first drop, it's quite obvious that both phones are still fairly well intact. The backs and sides of the 5C and the 5S are a little bit scuffed and scratched, but that's a given when being dropped from pocket height again, but the screens are almost flawless, both without scratches there. However, the sides are going to get a little dinged up because that's what will mainly take the impact. But from a pocket height drop here or there once in a while, your phone should be pretty good without a case. Nothing to worry about here on either the 5S or the 5C.
Alright, so that drop was from pocket height, and both phones seem to fare very well. Again, now we're going to do the same test, but this time from head height, as if you were taking a call and the phone's to slip out of your hands. I'm about 6'3", so this is just about under 6 foot for the drop here. Again, we're going to do the 5C first, and then we'll go ahead and follow it with the 5S. So here's the 5C from head height. Here it is on 3, 2. Alright, and now this is the 5C from head height, 3, 2.
So after a chest height drop, there are starting to show a little bit of marks on the front of each of the phones. The 5C has some scuffs in the top right corner, again not really directly impacting the screen, but again they're still there on the front glass. And then the 5S has a scuff in the bottom right corner. Again, nothing too serious, but the chest height drop is survivable as long as the phone doesn't land face first. It'll be alright as long as the edges take the impact on both of these phones. They're holding up alright up until this point.
Alright, so each phone fared also pretty well from the head height drop. Now we're going to do above the head, which is about 7.5 feet or so. We'll drop the 5C first, and then we'll see how that fares against the 5S. So here's the 5C from above the head drop. And here is the 5S.
After the above the head drop at about 7 feet, as you can see here, the iPhone 5C has started to have its front glass, its front digitizer, to pop out of the plastic casing. Again, this is a rare drop to have a drop from 7 feet, but it can show you that this is a little bit more cheaper made than the 5S itself without its aluminum body. However, both screens are still perfect. Again, they haven't yet begun to crack or spiderweb crack whatsoever, so both phones are still fairly good after a 7-foot drop, which is nice to see on both these phones.
Alright, so it seems as though both phones have fared pretty well after the first 3 drops, and neither of the screens have completely cracked, so we're going to go ahead and do one last drop from 10 feet and see how they end up, whether they crack or they hold together. Surprised that the iPhone 5C with its plasticky back is still intact, and everything seems to still be functioning perfectly fine. So here's the 5C from 10 feet. And then here is the iPhone 5S from 10 feet.
Alright, so this is impressive. After previously enduring 3 other drops, these were both dropped from 10 feet, and neither of them have cracked. Now remind you, they didn't land directly on the screen, which is a key factor in the fact that the screen is still intact, but it's good to see that the back casing on the 5C hasn't yet cracked. That was many people's worries, but as we've seen here, it can endure shocks, drops, and what have it, and it still is holding up. So it's nice to see that both of the screens are intact on these phones. The backs and sides are a little dinged up because they've endured most of the drops, but it's good to see that from 10 feet these screens have held up. Luckily they haven't landed yet on the front, but I think that's what we'll be doing here in the next drop.
Alright, so for the last test here, as both phones have so far withstood the drops from pocket, chest, and above the head, as well as a 10-foot drop, we're going to drop the phone again from 10 feet, but this time facing down. Usually this will result in a crack because of direct impact with the front glass. So we're going to see here if dropping the phone face down causes the screen to crack or if it will hold up. So we'll begin here with the 5C. Alright, so this is the 5C, screen face down, 3, 2, 1. Alright, now here once last time is the iPhone 5S with the screen facing down. 3, 2, 1. Both those land.
Unfortunately, as you saw in the slow motion, both these landed square on their faces. Yes, they landed directly on the glass front of both phones, shattered completely through. It's unfortunate, but this is going to happen almost all the time when the phone lands directly on the front face. It's sad to see, but again, that's how they fared. Up to that point, though, they were fairly durable, and I was very impressed with the 5C and the 5S in these drop tests. So it's good to see that Apple hasn't backed out on build quality almost at all in the building of the 5C, which was many people's worries. So it's great to see that. I hope you guys enjoyed this drop test. Please leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what phone you'll be getting, which phone you have, if you're going to get one or whatnot. And please leave a like for this video, as it took a while to produce, and I'll see you guys in the next one.